Welcome to Spartan V. So today we're going to be talking about what is the best base for a beginner to use. There is going to be a difference of opinions because people would have started off on lace or people started off on poly and they'll be dead set, be like, no, that is the one to use. But what I'm going through today is based on, my opinion plus lots of others on what base you should first use if you ever want to start using a hair system. To a lot of you, this is going to be pretty obvious what I'm going to say, but obviously I'm going to state my reasons for it and then, tell you what you should do, in my opinion, on your first hair system and what you should go for. So, first of all, just want to say today's video is sponsored by Lavivid. So if you need anything from there, you can use my code SAM15 and get a 15% discount on everything you want to buy. So let's get cracking. I'm going to come out with the answer straight away. It's going to be poly. A lot of people, that's going to be understandable. They'll be like, yep. Other people might be like, no, I've used lace from the beginning, fine. But for your own success rate, if you want to, try the experience that we all have of having a hair system, then poly is going to be your best starting point. No matter what, your lifestyle, whatever it is, poly is the first one to try. Okay, let's go through a few reasons why. So, number one, it is a lot easier to clean and look after a poly base. When I say easier, I mean a lot easier. I've done some videos on lace before that shows you how to clean it, where you put it in a bucket with some conditioner and other bits. It's still so much easier than all of that. Even if you use tape or glue, then poly is your best friend here. So that is a massive thing because that's going to be a big time saver. It's going to be less frustrating. So, when you first have a hair system, for instance, tape is so easy to use. You just tape around the perimeter, stick it on, you're good to go. So, you can line up the tape, put it on where you want. But, with lace, it's a lot more difficult. So when you first get a lace system, you have to wash the base, first of all, before you put the tape on. And then when you go to put the tape on, it's pretty difficult. Well, I say difficult. It's difficult if you haven't got any experience in it because it's very, what's the word? It's just tricky to try and make sure it stays on. You've got to get the tape off. But on poly, once it's on, it's on. That ain't moving. So it's, so easy with a poly base just to use tape. You can get it on, and when you come to clean it off, you can soak it a bit for some C22 resolver. You can then nicely peel the tape or use some cotton wool and get it off, and it cleans easy. Whereas, the actual lace system is a lot harder, and you have to be careful because if you don't clean the lace system properly, you'll pull the hairs through the lace. So, that is massive, really, in my opinion. So another point, the hair will not come out from under the base. So with lace, especially like I said before, if you're cleaning it and it gets stuck in all the mesh holes, you can easily, when you're using some cotton wool or something similar, the hair might get stuck to the glue, and then when you're pulling it, hair will start coming out underneath, which is a big annoyance and can put you off if you're using it as your first hair system, because you start panicking. You're thinking, oh, it's doing that, or the hair's going to start coming out, it's going to break the knots, it's going to look all patchy, etc. So again, it's something with time you can get to a point where a lot of that doesn't happen. It will happen no matter how good you are, but not as much as if you don't have any experience. So that those 2 points are big points for it. But the main thing is on a poly, I find, is the versatility when you come to fit it on your head. So, for example, say a French lace or a Swiss compared to a poly, you don't have too much stretch in a lace system. So if you're slightly out on your cut and you need to stretch it, so especially a Swiss system, so on that lace system, they can tear very easily. So you have to get it a lot more accurate than you would a poly. Because you'll find with a poly, you've got a good bit of stretch that you can pull out and put onto your head when you are fitting it. It can make a real difference. So again, that's another reason why, being a beginner, when you are having a hair system, go for the poly, because if you cut it just slightly wrong or a bit too small, you've got stretch room to play with it and get it onto your head without it really tearing. Even like, the ultra thin ones can withstand, a stretch going on there. The lace is, you do have to be careful. You do have to be more accurate when you're doing it. So there's sort of my top 3 things, and they are what I reckon crucial when it comes to, getting your first hair system. And you might be saying, I'm really active, I sweat loads, what's going to happen? Okay, the sweat will get trapped on top of your head. It's a pain. I've been there. I do a bit of exercise myself. And when you are in that position, it does make everything break down quicker in regards to the glue that's on your head. So it just means you'll have to replace it sooner rather than later. And this is why I think if you are someone who's active, you have the best of both worlds. So this is my old one. It's so dried out and horrible. I completely destroyed it. But as you can see here, you have a poly perimeter, and this one has it going in there as well. But then you have lace in the center bits here, and that really helps with the breathability. So it just means the sweat and the air and everything else can escape the top of your head. You've got the best of both worlds. So I suppose what I'm really trying to say is, for your first system, just make sure you have a poly perimeter. So I do find in some places you can lack, the right setup for it. So when you have the poly base and lace in there, a lot of places it always seems just too thick on the density. So like 120, 130%. So ideally you want around 100% density if you do want to try it, or less. But I actually have a way, of finding that out, because I'll just stick it in the description for you as a link. Ones I've used from lavivid, and they are supreme, which is why, a lot of my videos are, even though they're sponsored by lavivid, I do work with other people as well, but I always go back to their hair systems because of the quality. And I'll make sure to put down a list of hair systems for beginners, because, for instance, I won't say to go for the absolute thinnest one you can buy. No. If you want to try it yourself, because there is a risk when it is that thin, you can still tear it. If you're messing about with it or taking it off, it can still tear, especially if you have tape. So I'm probably going to suggest around 0.4 to 0.6 base thickness. And that will just mean that it's going to be a bit more durable, because all you want to do on your first system is learn how to stick it on your head, get it to stay there, do the style you want, take it off. Once you've got the concept and everything, how it works, then you will be in a position to decide if you want to go over to lace. Don't get me wrong, I've had some lace systems that have been absolutely incredible, and I'll probably be wearing it now still, but time is not my friend these days. To spend even a couple of hours trying to, sort out a hair system is a bit too long for me. So, which is why I always go for the poly, because I can get really quick clean up and get the tape on, stick it on my head, job's done. So, but the lace systems, they do have their advantages. they can last a lot longer than, say, like an ultra thin. An ultra thin is sometimes known as disposable, so 1 to 2 months max, because they'll shed. They've got such a thin base that the hair can't really stay in for that long. It just gets damaged, it comes out and it sheds. And when it's an ultra thin, you get a lower density. So yeah, it can shed a lot. So which is why like the ultra thin ones are usually better for someone with experience. So again, all from my opinion, what I found. And there isn't too much more to say on it, because if you're a beginner, go for a poly, because your chance of having another one after that are going to be higher, because you'll suddenly be like, oh, I can work this. I know what to do now. I know how to place my head. I know the position. I know how I like the hairline. I know how I like the style. And once you get that, then I'd say experiment, try lace. Because like I say, lace is so popular for so many people. And like I said, I really like lace, but I just don't have the time for the upkeep of it. So I need something quick and easy. And that's why I usually always go for a hybrid a lot of the time, because then, I can sweat on top of my head. We're in summer now as well. And, I don't want to always have that point where I'm trapping everything under the poly. Okay, so that's all I needed to say on that one. I will be making a full beginners video soon. So it'll be everything from when you get the hair system, cutting, getting the tape or glue, putting it on your head, taking off. I'll be doing all of it. So what I plan on doing, I might be looking to do one very long video of me doing it all. And then I will break that into segments and I'll release all those videos. So I have its very own playlist. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed that today. Thank you for watching. Much love.